There were 3 of us: me, Nicole, and Jamie. It was one of those sticky summer days where the air hangs on your skin. Everything felt slow, heavy, the kind of day that begs for water. Nicole had this story about her older brother, how he and his friends used to sneak off to a swimming hole somewhere off the back roads. She said it was the kind of place nobody talks about because they don't want it ruined. Supposedly, it wasn't even on the map, just local lore passed down between bored teenagers. We figured, why not? We followed her memory through cracked asphalt, turns that didn't look like real roads, and trailheads nearly swallowed by overgrowth. Twice we had to turn around. Once we stopped completely because a deer stood in the middle of the road, not moving, just staring. Eventually, we found it. A still, perfect pond surrounded by trees that looked older than anything else for miles. There were no signs, no fences, no paths, just a clearing of pine needles and packed dirt leading right to the water. It was beautiful, but it was too quiet. No wind, no insects, no distant hum of cars or birds. It felt like we were in a vacuum, like the place was waiting. We laughed about how creepy it looked, tried to shake it off, changed into swimsuits behind the car, kicked off our shoes. The sun was beating down, so we ran in barefoot. I remember the moment my feet hit the water. It was cold. Not just cold, freezing. Way colder than it had any right to be on a 90-degree day. It felt wrong, but we waded in anyway. We were already laughing and too stubborn to turn back over a chill. Jamie was the first to say something. Something brushed my leg. Nicole splashed her. Probably a fish, she said. But Jamie's face didn't look like she believed that. Then I saw them. Across the water, lining the trees, birds, dozens of them, perfectly still, all perched on branches too thin to hold them, all facing us. Not a single sound, not a flutter of wings. Nicole tried to joke again. Reverse bird watching, she whispered, but her voice cracked halfway through. We kept swimming, but that feeling, the feeling that we were being watched, only got worse. At one point, Jamie asked if the trees looked closer than before. I hadn't noticed until then, but she was right. The edge of the pond looked smaller, the water darker, and the silence heavier. That's when Nicole picked up a rock. She tossed it toward the center of the water, maybe to prove we weren't scared. The splash barely made a ripple, and then all hell broke loose. Every single bird launched from the trees, but not into the sky. They flew at us. Sharp caws shattered the silence as wings sliced through the air. We screamed. Jamie ducked underwater. Nicole tripped trying to get to shore. I felt a wing slap against the side of my head. It wasn't like a normal flock. They weren't avoiding us. They were circling us, close, aggressive, organized. I dragged Jamie up, screaming for Nicole. We scrambled out of the water, half blind, grabbing our towels and shoes without stopping. The birds didn't follow us out. They just rose, looped above the pond once, and landed again. Back in the trees. Same branches, same direction, like nothing had happened. We didn't speak, just ran to the car, dripping wet, towels dragging in the dirt. We drove in silence. My hands were shaking on the wheel. No one looked back, and even hours later, after the adrenaline wore off and the sun began to set, none of us mentioned the birds. We just knew not to. We figured the weird part was over. The birds, the freezing water, that thick silence. It all felt like a weird story we'd laugh about later. But the road out was longer than we remembered. Gravel winding through trees like it didn't want to let us go. 15 minutes later, we were still surrounded by forest. Jamie had her head against the window. I was messing with the radio, still just static. Nicole was focused on the road. That's when she hit the brakes, hard. Everything jolted. Bags flew off the seat. Jamie screamed. There were deer. Not one, at least a dozen. Standing in the road. Lined up, shoulder to shoulder, some close, some blocking the edges of the woods. All facing us, still as statues, eyes glassy and unblinking. Nicole whispered, "What the hell?" We just sat there, the car idling, the static still hissing softly from the radio even though I'd turned the volume all the way down. Then, movement, not away from us, toward us. The deer in the center took a slow, deliberate step, then another, and the rest followed. All of them. Coming toward the car. Slow and heavy, their hooves crunching the gravel in rhythm. Nicole gripped the wheel. I don't know what to do. Then one broke into a run. No warning. The sound was like a baseball bat hitting concrete. The front bumper crumpled as its body hit the hood and rolled, smearing blood across the windshield before it slammed to the ground in front of us. It didn't move. The others scattered, not in panic, like they'd finished something. Like they had somewhere else to be. Nicole was breathing hard. Jamie was frozen. I looked at the windshield, cracked, streaked with red, and whispered, "Go." Nicole hit the gas as we veered around the fallen deer, tires kicking up dirt, and didn't slow down until we saw pavement again. We thought we were safe. But just before the road curved, I looked back. There was one deer left standing at the edge of the trees. Only, it wasn't right. Its body was long. Too long. Neck tilted at a sharp, unnatural angle. Limbs stiff like a puppet mid-movement. Its head twitched. Not turned, but twitched toward us like it heard something we couldn't. Then it took a step forward, and I saw its face. Not a deer's face. Something stretched thin, skin too pale. Eyes sunk deep into the sockets like someone had carved them out and put them back wrong. It was wearing the deer shape, but just barely. Then we rounded the curve, and it was gone. None of us talked the rest of the ride. We didn't even turn the music on. We still don't talk much about what happened at Devlin Pond. Not because we're scared exactly, but because none of us can explain it. And deep down, I think we all feel the same thing. We weren't supposed to see it. Not the birds, not the pond, not whatever that was in the woods. Some places keep their secrets, and some secrets keep watching.